Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, I'm sure you probably noticed I haven't put up a whole lot of property videos lately because I'm hiding out here in Santa Dominica, Talao, because it's tourist season and Scalea is pretty much, well, let's just say it's pretty crazy down there. If you're driving in Scalea, you're basically in a pinball machine and you're the ball. Okay, the bumpers come out, this comes out. It's just a nightmare if you're trying to drive. So I tend to stock up on everything that I need from Scalea before the month of August, and then hunker down up here for the entire month of August. Plus the fact we have Ferragosto, which is 2 weeks of nothing gets done, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to just enjoy my time up here in Santa Dominica and give you other videos that I think are super important if you're looking at moving here. So today's burning question is, do I need to know Italian in order to live in Italy? And the answer to that question is, it depends. It depends on what kind of life you want. First of all, I want to say that communication in life is probably the one most important thing that you have. If you don't think that, go out and try to spend a day without saying anything to anybody, even in English in America, and just see how far you get. And your communication is very, very important, and it's very, very valuable. And if you don't think that's true, just look at the big tech companies. How many of them deal strictly with communication? Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all of these things all have to do with communication. Everybody wants to control your communication to some degree, but the bottom line is the ultimate arbiter of how you communicate and what you communicate is you. You have to have the responsibility for it, you have to have the control of it, or things can go wildly off the rails. So that said, it's a choice. I will never say you have to do something or you have to do something else, but I will tell you, I would never go through life without full 100% control of my communication. Another thing is people use Google Translate a lot, and that's fine for some superficial communication. Google Translate can make mistakes. In fact, I use Google Translate quite a lot because I'm translating contracts and things like that, and I want to make sure it's 100% correct. But I always go through and read the Italian translation before sending anything, because I have seen people use Google Translate, mistranslate something, and have the other party get very upset. That's not something you want, because once you have an upset in a foreign language, good luck getting out of the upset by explaining what you meant in that foreign language. It's almost impossible. So the best thing to do is avoid upsets to begin with, and upsets usually, almost always, have to do with communication. The lack of communication, the misunderstanding of communication, the communication not received, communication not sent. Now, other people have said, well, my wife or husband speaks Italian, and I'm just going to let them do it. And to me, that's very scary, because I would like to think that our loved ones always live forever, but they do not. And one particularly painful example was a person who lived up here. His wife went to the Italian classes twice a week or whatever, learned Italian, took on everything, handled all the bills, handled everything, and then she died. The husband never went to Italian class, he never learned Italian, and as a result, he was completely lost. He ended up moving back to the States, and it just ended very, very tragically. So definitely, if you're going to be here, you should at least be trying to learn Italian. Take the courses. We have free courses down there in Scalea for residents. If you're a resident here, you go down a couple times a week. We're going to have groups that go down there and study together and whatnot. It's going to be a lot of fun. Another reason you need to learn Italian is the isolation factor. Now, you can have friends that speak Italian if you don't speak Italian, but it's not going to be a deep relationship. It's going to be very superficial because you can't communicate on the things that are important to you. In order to really have a good friendship with somebody, other than just a lunch and how are you doing and the weather's great today, you really need to be able to communicate all your thoughts and all your feelings. And again, it's not going to happen overnight. I can't do that right now, but there are certain subjects I don't touch because I know I can't communicate what I'm really, really trying to say on those subjects, except with certain people who I know will work to understand me. The next question is, how do I do it? There's a lot of myths that have to do with learning another language. One of them is you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, I'm an old dog, sorry to say, and I'm learning Italian, so you can learn it too. Another myth is that certain people are just naturally talented in that way. Well, I'm not going to lie, certain people do have more of an inclination naturally to learn languages and things like that, just like certain people have the inclination to learn math. However, I I'm not great at math, but I can learn math. Another myth I see is, well, I'll get over there and I'll just pick it up. Well, I don't see a lot of people just picking it up, to be honest with you. You have to study. You have to break down the basics. You have to understand the theory behind things in order to really learn them. So if you've had trouble learning a language in the past, it's probably because you didn't have a teacher that went down to the very basics, started at the very, very basic part of it and went up from there, and also who made sure you understood the concepts and the theory and why things are the way they are. So I will have to say that one of the best things that I've seen, super success story, is one of our guys, Pat, who came over here. He was here not even a year ago and bought a house, and they were just so happy and doing great. And then he went home, and then the next time he came over, just a month ago, he was speaking Italian. And he was understanding almost everything that Antonella was saying to him. I was translating for him, but most of the time it was me just saying, did you get that? And him going, yeah. Or I just didn't get that one word. So the comprehension is coming really well on him, and he can string the words together and create sentences that make sense, that are grammatically correct. The stringing sentences together, that comes later. I mean, I still struggle with masculine and feminine and some other kinds of grammatical issues, but I can make myself understood. And he sees a tutor several times a week. Now, I'm sure people think, okay, well, 3-4 times a week for a tutor, oh my gosh, that's expensive. But what did you pay for your college degree? You can get a tutor for $15 an hour. Let's say you pay $30-60 a week, okay? I mean, you probably pay a lot more for a gym membership, but here you are putting down the basic foundation of your life in Italy with this tutor. I have to say that I got to a certain point with my Italian where it just wasn't progressing. I was just not getting anywhere. I was like not hitting that next level. And so I hired a tutor. And for a couple of months, I met with him. We went over certain tenses and things like that. But most of my questions were, how come I say this here but not here? How come you have these articles that are so weird? Like you've got la and il, and then you got li, and then you got this and that. And it made no sense to me, and he explained it all. And then I did some simple drills on it, and it makes total sense now, which it never did before. So the tutor thing, I think, is probably the answer to most people's question. How do I learn Italian? Now, another thing is drive time Italian. I don't know if it's still out there, but when I was first learning Italian, I got it, put it in my car, drill. It's drilling. It's like music. You have to drill in order to make it stick and get the memory that comes up so you can just pow. Now, when you're not in Italy and you're not around Italian all the time, it's a little harder to retain it. But again, if you have a tutor, if you practice with your spouse, that's great. And then when you get here, it gets so much better because you're constantly using it. So I won't say learning Italian is easy any more than learning to play the piano is easy, but it's necessary. Okay, well, now that I burst your bubble about not having to learn Italian, I'm just going to leave it here for now. Get online, find a tutor. Honestly, find a tutor. The person will help you so much, and you will learn it, and you will do great. Another point is, don't be worried about or feel invalidated or anything if you have to hire a translator for something. A lot of these things are highly technical, and having a good translator to translate for you is very important, especially when you're signing compromessi, which are the promise to buy or sell, or the act. You do need a good translator because the terms are technical and you need to know what you're signing. So that said, I'm going to leave you because I have to take Gigi for a walk. I'm sure you heard her barking at the passerbys, which means she's bored. And if I don't handle her when she's bored, she's going to chew up the house. So I will see you next time, and we'll give you more tips on learning Italian. It's not that hard. I think when you get a few wins under your belt, you're going to love it. See you soon.